The pig thing, I'm glad you brought that up, because that is one thing that I keep hearing out here from folks, that there's an attitude about pigs that they're disgusting, they're just dirty creatures, and they kind of just want them dead.
It's just past midnight in central Texas, and a thermal drone is hovering 400 feet above a stretch of ranch land the size of a small town. On screen, pitch-black landscape, then a switch to thermal. The ground glows in cold blues and greens, and a cluster of white-hot blobs moves in a tight pack across an open field. On the operator's screen, 30-some feral hogs light up like a constellation, a scattering of white-hot dots against a cold gray field. A full sounder, moving fast, moving together, kicking up a faint haze of dust that shows on thermal as a soft gray smear trailing behind them. For a moment, it looks exactly like every other clip in every other hog hunting video online. Predictable, almost boring, and then, in the space of about 4 seconds, something happens that isn't supposed to happen. The pack doesn't scatter, it doesn't panic. It splits, cleanly, like it's been rehearsed, and vanishes under a tree line before a single shot is ever fired. The kill report from that night lists a number: 12 hogs taken. That's it. That's what goes in the file. But the footage, the actual thermal footage, shows something the report never mentions. It shows animals behaving less like prey and more like something that's already figured out what's hunting them. That's the part nobody talks about, and it's the part we're going to unpack today. Because to understand what that drone really caught on camera, you first have to understand exactly how bad the hog problem in Texas has gotten, and how strange the fight to stop it has become. Texas has more feral hogs than almost anywhere else on Earth. Estimates put the statewide population somewhere north of 2 million animals, with some surveys pushing closer to 3 million once you account for how hard these animals are to count in the first place. Nationally, the number is somewhere around 6 million hogs spread across at least 35 states, and that number keeps climbing. Here's why. A single sow can start breeding before she's a year old. Litters average 4 to 6 piglets, sometimes more, and a healthy sow can produce 2 litters in a single year. Under good conditions, a hog population can double in about 4 months. 4 months, not 4 years, 4 months. Do the math on that, and you get a population that grows faster than almost anything else with a spine walking around North America. These animals trace back 500 years, to pigs brought ashore by Spanish explorers in the 1500s and simply turned loose to fend for themselves. For centuries, that was mostly fine. Then, in the early 20th century, ranchers and hunters imported Eurasian wild boar for sport, and those boar interbred with the descendants of those original domestic pigs. What came out of that mix was something tougher, leaner, faster, and smarter than either parent line, a hybrid built almost perfectly for surviving anything humans throw at it. And these aren't just backyard nuisances. Feral hogs in Texas are conservatively estimated to cause somewhere between $500 million and over $1 billion in damage every single year. Torn up crops, wrecked fences, ruined pasture land, contaminated water sources. One widely cited Texas A&M estimate puts crop losses alone in the hundreds of millions annually, and nationwide, agricultural losses from feral hogs are estimated well into the billions. Add in fence repair, equipment damage, and disease risk. Hogs can carry brucellosis and other pathogens transmissible to livestock and humans, and you start to see why Texas wildlife officials call this one of the most serious invasive species crises in the country. Picture a 100-acre hay field the morning after a sounder has moved through it. It doesn't look grazed. It looks plowed, deep, ragged furrows gouged out overnight by snouts, strong enough to flip football-sized rocks, looking for grubs and roots. A rancher can lose an entire season's crop in a single pass, with no warning and no way to see it coming until the damage is already done. Here's the number that should stop you in your tracks. Researchers estimate that landowners would need to remove roughly 75% of the entire feral hog population every single year just to keep the numbers from growing. Not reduce them, just hold the line. 75% every year, forever. Against an animal that's been in North America in one form or another, since Spanish explorers brought the first pigs ashore 5 centuries ago, and that later interbred with imported Eurasian wild boar to become bigger, tougher, and smarter. So Texas did something most states never would. In 2011, the legislature passed House Bill 716, effectively declaring feral hogs fair game for almost any method of removal: ground hunting, trapping, poison bait, in limited and controlled forms. And most famously, aerial gunning, shooters in helicopters, thinning out sounders from the sky. It's the origin of the now infamous pork chopper hunts that turned parts of rural Texas into a strange kind of extreme sport. For a while, it worked, at least on paper. Helicopters could cover huge stretches of land in a single pass, and hogs had nowhere to hide in open pasture. It even spawned a small tourism industry of its own, with outfitters offering paying customers a seat in the chopper and a machine gun for a few $1,000s a trip. An experience that sounds more like something out of an action movie than modern wildlife management, but one that's completely legal under Texas law. But helicopters are expensive. A single hour in the air can run several $100s, sometimes well over $1,000 once fuel, pilot time, and insurance are factored in. And hogs don't exactly wait around in convenient locations. Weather grounds them, property size limits them. And not every ranch can justify that kind of spend for an animal that might not even be on the property that day. So, somewhere in the last few years, hunters and wildlife managers started asking an obvious but slightly ridiculous question. What if you didn't need a helicopter at all? What if a thermal camera mounted on a drone costing a few $1,000s, a fraction of a single helicopter flight, could do almost the same job? Climb to 300 or 400 feet, scan a pasture in minutes, spot a heat signature invisible to the naked eye, and relay the coordinates to a ground team waiting nearby with rifles and thermal scopes of their own. On paper, it looked like a total game changer, cheaper than a helicopter, quieter than a truck full of hunters, reusable, night after night, for the cost of a battery charge. At first, almost nobody took it seriously. Old-school hog hunters scoffed. Thermal drones had short flight times. Most maxed out around 25 or 30 minutes per battery before needing to land and swap packs, which meant an operator working a large ranch might burn through half a dozen batteries in a single night, just to cover the ground a helicopter could clear in one pass. Wind knocked the smaller units around badly enough to ruin a thermal image. Rain grounded them entirely, and the legal picture was murky at best. Under current Texas parks and wildlife rules, drones can be used to locate hogs, but actually hunting from a drone, or hunting at night using one, requires a specific state permit, and even then it's restricted to daylight hours. Proposals to loosen those rules and allow nighttime drone use specifically for locating feral hogs have been floated and debated, but as of now, anyone who wanted a true nighttime thermal drone operation was stuck navigating a regulatory gray zone, one permit application, and one county sheriff's office at a time. And then there was the noise problem. A drone doesn't sound like nothing. It has a buzz, a hum, a mechanical whine that carries for hundreds of yards in a silent field. Hunters quickly noticed something unsettling. After just a handful of flights over the same property, hogs started reacting to the sound itself, bolting for cover before the drone ever got close enough to spot them clearly. This is where the story could have ended. Just another gadget that looked great in a sales video and fell apart in the field. Early adopters posted mixed results online in hunting forums full of frustration. Some swore by it, others called it an expensive way to watch hogs run away faster than they used to. There were nights when operators would fly for over an hour, burn through every battery they'd brought, and come home with nothing but footage of empty fields. Fields that, according to feeders and game cameras, had been full of hogs just hours earlier. It felt less like hunting and more like chasing a rumor. If you'd been in rural Texas about 10 years ago, standing in the doorway of a feed store, you'd have heard ranchers say the same thing over and over. Hogs are too smart for gadgets. Hunt them the old way, or don't bother wasting your money. Before we get to what actually happened next, because it's genuinely strange, if you're into stories where science, wildlife, and a little bit of chaos collide, this is exactly the kind of thing this channel exists for. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because what this footage revealed didn't just change how people hunt hogs. It revealed something about how fast these animals can learn. Here's where it gets interesting. Researchers with the Texas A&M Natural Resources Institute had already been quietly studying something that most hunters only half understood. They wanted to know what actually happens to hog behavior during and after an aerial gunning campaign, not just how many were killed, but how the survivors changed. They set up camera traps across a stretch of South Texas ranch land and tracked hog activity across 4 distinct windows. Before the aerial gunning began, during the campaign itself, immediately after it ended, and then again roughly a month later, once the helicopters had long since gone home. It's the kind of slow, patient, unglamorous science that never makes headlines on its own, and the results were almost eerie in how clean they were. Before the aerial hunts, the hogs behaved the way hogs normally behave in areas without heavy pressure, active at various hours, moving through open country, using forest cover only occasionally. During and after the hunts, nighttime detection rates dropped sharply. But it wasn't because the hogs had vanished or been wiped out, it was because they'd changed strategy. Detections inside closed-canopy forest, thick tree cover, dense brush, the kind of terrain a helicopter can't safely fly low over and a thermal drone struggles to see through, actually increased during and after the gunning campaign. Read that again. The hogs didn't just get harder to find, they moved toward the one kind of terrain that neutralizes an aerial thermal advantage. Tree canopy blocks line of sight entirely, and it also holds on to ambient daytime heat, creating a wash of thermal clutter that can bury a hog's body heat signature in visual noise. From above, a hog under heavy canopy can look almost identical to a sun-warmed patch of leaf litter. That's what the drone operator caught that night in Central Texas. It wasn't random panic. It was a learned escape pattern, a group of animals recognizing an aerial threat and running as a unit toward the exact terrain feature that erases them from a thermal screen. What nobody expected was how fast this adaptation could take hold. We're not talking about generations of evolutionary change. We're talking about individual sounders adjusting their behavior within days or weeks of repeated pressure, passing that avoidance pattern along through social learning inside the group. Older sows, the ones who survive multiple encounters, seem to lead these movements, herding younger hogs toward cover the instant they sense a threat from above. And here's the number that broke a few assumptions inside the hunting community entirely. Some operators running repeated thermal drone flights over the same properties reported spotting rates dropping by more than half within just a few weeks, not because there were fewer hogs on the land, but because the hogs had learned exactly when and where the drone would appear, and adjusted before it ever launched. Think about what that actually requires. It means an animal has to notice a pattern, the sound of a specific engine, the timing of a specific truck pulling up to a specific gate, connect that pattern to danger, and then change its own behavior fast enough to matter before the next flight even takes off. Deer do a version of this over hunting seasons that last months. These hogs were doing it in a matter of days. That's not the behavior of a dumb animal reacting on instinct. That's the behavior of an animal building a working model of its predator in real time and updating that model faster than most wildlife management strategies can react to it. So what do you do when your target species is outlearning your technology in real time? You don't throw out the tool. You get smarter about how you use it. This is where the payoff of the whole story shows up, because the researchers didn't just document the problem, they handed hunters and land managers a fix hiding in their own data. If hogs are ducking into canopy cover the instant they sense an aerial threat, then the solution isn't more time in the air. It's positioning ground teams at the edges of that canopy, right where hogs naturally have to cross open ground to reach it, and timing those efforts for dawn and dusk, the exact transition windows when hogs are most likely to be moving between feeding grounds and cover. Combine that with a drone doing what it's actually good at, wide area daytime and dusk reconnaissance, not blind nighttime pursuit, and you get something far more effective than either tool alone. Spot the sounder in open country while it's still vulnerable, relay the coordinates immediately, and let ground shooters or a helicopter close the gap before the hogs reach their escape terrain. Ranches running this integrated approach, drone spotting, precisely timed ground intercepts, and occasional aerial sweeps for open pasture, have reported meaningfully higher removal rates than any single method used alone. And when you consider that Texas needs to remove roughly 3/4 of its entire hog population every year just to break even, every percentage point of efficiency matters. It's the difference between a ranch losing crops it can't replace and a ranch that stays profitable through another season. This isn't unique to Texas either. Countries like Australia have wrestled with feral pig populations descended from the exact same story. Domestic stock gone wild, thriving with no natural predators, and wildlife agencies there have started watching this Texas research closely because the same canopy avoidance, same rapid behavioral learning shows up wherever pigs face heavy aerial pressure. A discovery made over one stretch of South Texas brushland is quietly reshaping how invasive pig populations get managed on other continents entirely. There's a bigger picture here too, beyond the balance sheet. Every acre of pasture these hogs don't tear apart is an acre where native grasses recover, where ground-nesting birds get a chance at a nest that doesn't get rooted up overnight, where creek beds stop getting churned into muddy wallows that choke out fish and amphibians downstream. Wild pigs are one of the most damaging invasive species on the continent, precisely because they reshape entire ecosystems just by existing in large numbers. Slowing them down doesn't just save a farmer's bottom line. It buys breathing room for ground-nesting quail, for native amphibians, for whatever's left of the understory in places hogs have been rooting through for years. It's not a total fix. Nobody studying this pretends the hog problem is close to solved, but it's the first real sign that the tools built to fight this invasion can adapt just as fast as the animal they're chasing, instead of always being one step behind. And there's something almost humbling in how this story unfolded. Humans brought in a 500-year-old invasive species, gave it every advantage, no natural predators, an omnivore's diet, a body built for surviving practically anywhere, and then spent decades trying to out-innovate an animal that, it turns out, was quietly out-innovating us right back. Helicopters, night vision, thermal drones. Every escalation on our end has been met, almost immediately, with an adjustment on theirs. That's not a story about losing to a pig. It's a story about how much we still underestimate the animals we think we already understand, the ones we've decided are simple or dumb or purely instinctual, right up until a camera catches them doing something that instinct alone can't explain. Go back to that clip from the beginning. 30 hot white shapes on a cold gray field, splitting apart in 4 seconds flat and vanishing under cover before anyone even lined up a shot. On paper, that night was a partial failure. 12 hogs taken out of a sounder 3 times that size. But the footage tells a very different story than the report does. It's not a story about a hunt that came up short. It's a story about an animal that watched, learned, and got out. So here's the real question this raises, and it's one worth sitting with. If an invasive species can watch us, learn our patterns, and adapt its behavior within days or weeks of a new threat, how many other animals are quietly doing the exact same thing, just outside the range of anyone's camera, in places nobody's thought to look yet? What do you think? Are we still hunting these animals at this point, or has it quietly turned into something closer to a negotiation? Drop your take in the comments below. I'd genuinely like to know where you land on this one.